Ooh, that's for Peter. I think I'm having a mental breakdown. Truly. So I thought I'd get on and discuss that a little bit. I have called out 4 days straight. I've begun to have an agoraphobia. Like I get panicky. Like today, I got ready to go to work. All I had to do was get dressed and pack my bag. And overriding fear, CPTSD, sucks shit. But I did file FMLA for that as separate from the RA, because at least a third of the time, if not half the time, I didn't know if I could do that or not. I decided to try to do it, and I just sent it to my HR and said, I'm not expecting twice the benefits. I just want it on record that I have this too, and it's going to make me have to call out. And a lot of times when, the word dysregulated, it's, we get these catchwords and these word trends, and the more you say them, the less they mean. But I feel very out of control. And yet, not all terrible things are happening, except the fact that I might lose my job. Oh gosh! See, that's why I'm a half-earth socialist. We should not have to. We were sold moldy goods, and we've done it so long now. We think it's normal, and it's not. My next paycheck is going to be frighteningly small, I'm afraid, though I have got enough to get me through. This just can't continue on this way. So, as I said, one good thing is I was able to make an appointment with a social worker to help me reapply for disability. And so I am not going to self-sabotage myself. I am going to that appointment. It's on my day off. And she seems very, well, not that I haven't had challenging people in the medical field, but usually social workers are very empathic, or empathetic, or both. I'm very empathic to my detriment. And I know it's because I'm still not on the right amount of medication. And that is something that I'm going to have to address again. And I did. It's not the ideal situation right now. And I haven't been I'm totally not interested in watching really anything new. Well, watching anything new. I have been catching up on Bald and the Beautifuls, so that's a sign. I've been eating mega healthfully, and making sure I get enough. I get plenty of fiber and protein. I just tend to eat like twice a day because that happens as you get older. Your metabolism lessens. Plus, I'm dealing with severe depression and yes, suicidal ideation, which is always like my plan B. but it's been a after a long it's been a long time since I've felt it this strongly. These past couple of years, and it's getting worse. And it's passive, but that's not fun either. I do not enjoy. Well, I don't know. There's a strange kind of. I'm not advocating suicide, obviously. What I'm advocating are a cure and a reimagining of very corrupt, rotted foundations upon which our rotted, corrupt institutions stand upon or rest upon. I'm going to get to the root of the problem. I was just listening to that song, I Got No Roots. And I do have roots, but I just, nobody wants to talk to me, my family. I get it. And I've had to, as I've said before, I've had to estrange myself from family, not because I don't love them, but because I love myself. It doesn't come out easily. It probably never will, but I like myself enough that after all the hard work I have been putting in, just the fact that I did it, and not that I'm shaming anyone who hasn't done it. It took me till literally, I don't know how much more bottom I could have gotten unless I was on the street, naked, starving. Man, I guess it could have been worse, but it was pretty bad. I mean, and I'm saying in the sense that my suicidal ideation was active, very active. But my cat saved me. And while I can never thank them enough, but that's just because they were being who they are, what they were. They love me and they watch over me, thank goodness. And it's been very hard because anybody who works in a corporation or, works usually has to deal with and knows that management is usually not really copacetic with staff. And I've been experiencing that. And I'm taking it to, well, I'm asking too much of myself. I'm trying to save the world. And in that, saving me and all my coworkers. And, but that's who I've always been. I've always been that was me fruitlessly trying to save my mother and my sister, along with myself. And I didn't see where that got me, which turned out to be one of the best things I ever did. That and becoming vegan, because becoming vegan was just the start of it. Then I started questioning everything else. So it's not just one, single issue for me, as you well know. And I became vegan for the animals, but it has, yes, I'm riddled with autoimmune disease. Look at this. Can you see that? I'm afraid I'm getting eczema again. Now, I had eczema as a kid. See that? And that's all. I used to have it on my legs, and I had it up here. I can still see the scars from it from when I was a kid. And it's an autoimmune disorder. So one of many that I had growing up and into adulthood. And it was from the trauma of child abuse and the stress, the chronic stress that comes from living in a home where you don't feel safe. I can't tell you how horrible that is, but I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But so this next paycheck is going to be interesting, and I don't know. I just don't know, and I guess since I don't know, it's hardly, and I'm saying this to someone who could actually do this, but if you don't know, then what's the point worrying about it? But that's not how my CPTSD brain works, especially when I'm undertreated. And yes, I believe I'm still undertreated. And now is like the time. I'm treated enough, and I'm just so exhausted and tired of it all enough, and I feel like it's getting bad again. It's gotten bad, and I don't feel like I can talk to my psychiatrist about it. He's a guy. He says the highest dose you can give Klonopin is such and such a dose. When I researched it, and it just depends on the doctor. And, like medical journals or whatever, some say 4 to 5 milligrams. And I believe I was on 4 to 5. And he said something about, but that's in the hospital. I'm like, but it works. It worked. And my psychiatrist at the time was never like, do you want to, she's like, do you want to come down from this? This seems to be working for you. Right? But of course, it was just long enough ago. My time with my first therapist and psychiatrist, who were in the same office, which makes me, I know it's not, it makes me miss the suburbs. There, I've said it. Even though I'm totally against cars, and we could change that in the suburbs too. We could make a lot of changes if we just all pull together. I don't know. This is making me laugh, which is good. I couldn't remember the 2 memoir titles I came up with in my last video. Well, I was talking about suicidal ideation back then too. Back then, it was like 5 days ago. But I did wash my hair today. Like I said, I was all ready to go to work, and then I just couldn't make the appointment. I prepped my lunches and everything. And like I said, I washed my hair, which is a good thing. It's funny, now that my CPTSD symptoms have gotten, usually it's one or the other. One, I don't know if it's I hate to use that analogy, I can't think of the analogy, but I don't know if they just kind of like ping pong it back and forth. Let's put it that way. I was trying not to say the chicken or the egg, because I don't know, I feel I don't know, whenever it comes to like animal language too, non-human animal language, I still hear so many people calling their animal companions it. I was like, what is that about? Yeah, it's but you've named it. Did you name it? No. There's still that disconnect, which is why they won't eat their dog, but they'll eat a pig who's more intelligent than the dog. I just had like a Bostonian or some sort of accent there for a second. I don't know where it came from. This is doing me good. I went on the CPTSD Foundation website to look up for resources because with my schedule, if I still have a job, I'm working 3 different times a week, shifts, 3 different shift times a week. And it could change for any reason, like somebody calling out. And I of course I feel guilt. Oh, tremendous guilt. That's built in me too. And let me tell you, I've been meditating for 15 years. And I've been eating cleaner and healthier, more nutrient-dense food. I have been doing regular movement, not just bowel movement, but that's very important. I read, and this is the thing, I finished reading that What's Wrong with Men. I may have mentioned this in the last episode, but very good book. And it's not a guy bashing book. There's no man bashing going on. And it made me see a different perspective too. I'm not excusing any abhorrent criminal behavior by any man. But what I'm saying, read the book, and she's saying that when women are in a struggle, we tend to, we were kind of like programmed to connect with each other, to find some sort of connection. Well, and plus we talk about our feelings, and men were taught, even, maybe it's better now, I don't know, I don't have kids, thank dog, and, boys don't have any of those, boys and men either aren't raised to have a more evolved sense of what a man can be and should be. Not the ideal man, but a good man. I know good is such a vague term, but just not where violence is always the first, And anyway, so the book a lot, and let me tell you, her take, I want to watch all those Michael Douglas films in order, and because it's so true, and no wonder our government is like, let's shut down libraries, let's ban books, let's, get everybody addicted to their phone, and so nobody wants to read anymore, nobody wants to learn how to be a critical thinker anymore, and blah, 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 blah. And of course, art is always telling us, every form of art is trying to tell us and is a representation, or in a lot of ways, it can't help but be, because it's within the culture at that moment of time. And artists have been trying for millennia to tell us how to live. And I heard Rutger Bregman. No, was it? Oh no, there's my friend sent it to me. My friend Elle sent it to me. It was a real short part of an interview with David Foster Wallace. I know he's left grad students, or maybe even undergraduates. Hopefully it was just grad students, because I think he just worked with grad students. That doesn't make, anyway, whatever. And I'm not excusing it or whatever, but there were never any, as far as I know, there was never any, like, scandal about it. I've heard a lot of like Juno Diaz guy. These were all these writers that I was getting into when I was reading David Foster. When I discovered David Foster Wallace. Plus, I was in school as an English major again, and we were reading a lot of these books. I don't know if that's how I don't know how, I can't remember. I don't know if it was school that I came upon David Foster Wallace or just on my own. But anyway, that was a wonderful thing. Anyway, the little short he says is, aside, take away all the other stuff. Yeah, such as grad students. They also do the grad students. Women too, I'm sure. I'm not, okay, whatever. I'm not putting a judgment on whatever. Anyway. But he said that, and this was like a 90s video, or maybe early 2000s. So this is like over 20 years ago. And he was talking about technology is just, it's too fast now. And it's loud. He said, you notice everywhere you go, there's music being pumped in. And he says something about, and it's easy to make fun of the crappy music they play. I don't go shopping anymore in stores. I rarely go into, except the grocery store. And they play good music in there, actually. They know their audience. And they know good music, I think. But you should be pro-union, Trader Joe's. I got my eye on you. It was you or Morton Williams. And MW's comes in the clinch if I need, like, emergency, whatever. Also CVS. The CVS. It's debatable which one is more expensive. But Morton Williams is extremely expensive. It's the closest, but it's extremely expensive. And even it's, even like vegan staples like beans and Anyway, though they are open 24 hours. And I've heard people say they have a wonderful buffet, but I think I have learned through my continued reading and listening to, I don't really listen to podcasts that much, except for Paul the Bugle. But every once in a while I'll catch one, or at least part of one. And or maybe I read it in like Veg News. I'm reading the newest Veg News article, issue, my e-magazine, in e-magazine form, through my library. And should get in on that, because I have also come to the conclusion that I can no longer hold books in my hand to read physical books. I have to read ebooks. Maybe once in a great while, but until I'm on a new medication. And my neck definitely feels better, of course. I mean, it's still stiff and I have to, but I mean, that's age too. And I do have arthritis there. Or degenerative disc disease. Why is his hair always like this? I wash my hair today and it always dries like that. Its own little clump. Its own little, and it doesn't even have like a ringlety thing to it. But I do have what do they call it? Cowlick type thing there. Got it on each side when I decide to put my hair down in the middle. Place convenient, but I'd rather have it just down there. Sounds like so. I don't know. Anyway, so it's been. I'm gonna try to go to work tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I will make it in. I haven't checked my emails all day because I've been too the anxiety's been too bad. I don't want to know responses. I don't want to read responses. That's where we're at right now. And the gummies are kind of helping a little bit because I was listening to good music. I chose this episode title. First of all, I love the song. The video is, and she was absolutely gorgeous. So sad. But there's the set of lines in the song. She goes, and I tread a troubled track. Great alliteration too. My odds are stacked. I'll go back to black. And I've been feeling very much like that. That really spoke to me. And I know her song is about a relationship that she's been cheated on and left and hurt. It didn't seem like their relationship was all that healthy to begin with. You like blow and I like puff. I like the puff. Which was kind of what her life became. But damn, she could sing. She was amazing. Anyway, that song, I was listening to it, and I still have this thing in my head about doing a silent karaoke. What's that song? Why the fuck not? Before I'm homeless again or whatever. See my sense. I just yeah. Look, I had makeup on, and I tried a new thing. I put on. What did I do? Oh, I put on the darker. This was from. Oh, it was from that little quartet of colors that my friend at work gave me, and it's yellows and golds and green, and or like mustard, and then like an orangey metallic, and a sunny metallic. And I put the darker, and then I put the lighter over it. I don't know. I think it looks. I think it looks pretty good. I know you're like, Lisa, I don't see anything except maybe a sparkle or two. I think it looks good. Here, I'll look into the thing. I think it looks good with my green eyes, or hazel eyes, I should say. I like having hazel eyes. Fortunately, they were my father's. It's the color of my father's eyes. I also have his lips. I'm sure I've said this before. And I think I have the Perry hair. I went completely white like my mother, but I have the Perry wavy, but not like attractive wavy hair. Well, I just washed it today, and of course, just let it air dry. I need to get it cut too. See, just talking to someone. You know, it's hard to call a friend and say, listen, my passive suicidal ideation is on the uptick, and, you know, and I could just really use someone to listen to me. I have my two dearest friends, and one would know somewhat what to say to me, but she has a busy life, and I feel like a burden, of course. I don't know. Maybe my other friend would be, since he's solo like I am, but still, but he's a guy too. I bet he's different from a guy. He's like an older brother, but and he knows a lot of my story, so not all of it. A good enough. Anyway. So yeah, I had to switch to ebooks, but It's not too bad. I have two I can never buy a magazine again. They're like $12.99 per magazine, and I love Veg News magazine, but I can't spend $13 on a magazine. Right now, if I ever had a living salary, perhaps, and paid off my debt, perhaps I could afford a subscription. But that's what makes libraries so great, is that you can read. It's not quite the same, but it's still, and you don't have to recycle them afterwards. Or I used to leave them like around in case anybody else wanted to read them. You know, quiet accuracy. Let's see, anything else? I've been listening to albums because I've been doing less screen time, unless it's my comfort TV, which is Shoulder Family. Like I said, catching up on Bald and Beautiful, Tricks and Cuts. Yeah, haven't watched. I watched her. I know this was a little while ago. Her Amish video, and I was just on one of the newer Bald and Beautiful. She mentioned like she wants to watch this other documentary on the Amish, and I left, I think, a too polite of a comment, not to her, but about the Amish, because it's perfect. It's wonderful that she wants to know about all these different cultures and to learn. There's nothing wrong with learning. I just wanted, and fortunately I was not the only one. I looked down the comments. A lot of people mentioned that the Amish treat their farm animals, and they're also behind a lot of terribly, horribly, unconscionably inbred puppy mills. Well, yeah, shelters are full of them. And horses have just dropped dead. No veterinary care, little to no veterinary care, and they will literally work their horses to death. Kind of like what they do here in New York City. So again, call your council people and tell them, and our mayor, tell him again, because he said he was pro banning horse carriages. So let's have him keep that promise too, because it's not just about humans. It's about all citizens of New York City. And the birds were here before us, and we're the pests, not the rats. And okay. To ban, this is not the Gilded Age. Well, it is the Gilded Age 2.0. Or no, that was 2.0 was probably the 80s. So this is 3.0. This could be like off the Richter scale. Gilded Age. It's rich people are so, like Trixie would say, like when she says like straight people are so corny, and she's right. And I could say men are corny, and I'd be right. Having said that, I do acknowledge that men have few places to go and nary the resources, natural resources, because they have been beaten out of them, or they were taught to suppress emotion and to not communicate. Because their fathers didn't communicate, and they didn't express emotion, except maybe with their secretaries. They had as mistresses while their wives chucked benzos to get through the days. Oh, the days. Anyway. So I've been listening to albums. I don't know if I listened to Who's Next by The Who, and because I was doing it on gummies, I really enjoy listening to music when I'm buzzed. I feel like I hear things. Anyway, I was looking at the cover, and it was the first time that it had absorbed into my brain that the band members of The Who on the Who's Next cover have all just pissed on this obelisk thing that's in the middle of nowhere, and they're zipping up their pants. The album is how many years old? How old am I? That's the first time I noticed that they had all pissed on it. Bad boys of rock and roll. Who really were. Some of them. I mean, no, a lot of them are, and I say bad in a, like, criminal way, too, because I'm sure a lot of these guys were having sex with underage girls. And I'm sure they were being brought to them by traffickers. And it may not be in the Epstein file. I mean, this goes way back. Anyway, I don't want to sound all conspiracy theories, but, I mean, just listen to rock songs, you know. Van Halen, for instance. They, like, I love the songs. They totally objectify women. They don't age well. The rock sound ages well. The musicianship ages well. You know, I'm in my teens, 1980s, and I'm not really, I've got enough serious shit going on in my life. I'm a very dysfunctional mom, and I didn't have time to dissect the problematic lyrics of rock songs. But it still goes on. I mean, I don't listen to today's music, but I'm sure there's still conflict. So I was going to be a French word, but I can't think of what it is. Du jour, like of the day. I don't know. Is that right? Anyway, let's see. I listened to Relaxing with the John Coltrane Quintet. I think I may have mentioned that in the last one. Highly recommend that album. 1959, I think. Drumming. I would say it rivals Stuart Copeland's. We're talking completely different. But not that. Because if you sat the two of those drummers together, Stuart Copeland and whoever the drummer was in the John Coltrane Quintet, we used a lot of top hat. You know what they call that? Top hat or tap hat? I don't know. Whatever. The cymbals and stuff. And the you know, and there's some of that in. This is my international sign for drumming, for like jazz drumming. And Stuart Copeland does some of that. I mean, he's like all, you know, it's crazy. He can get off the beat, but he always stays. It sounds like he's off the beat, but it all comes back together, and that's very jazzy to me too. Anyways, so that was wonderful. I did an Alan Parsons Project album, and I can't remember the title, but it was good. Especially, I want to say it was especially, there were two songs in particular that I enjoyed. I did Billie Holiday's Solitude. She's just, nobody sings like her. Every scar, she can sing every scar, every heartbreak. And she sings it with such like dignity and honesty. You know, like she can't quit the man who hits her. That's a universal. She's not the first person to think that or feel that way, but much less sing about it. You know, not many women sing. Well, I don't know. But anyway, she's just one of a kind. And the band, the backing band, is just, it's so, I'm sure it sounded different every time she sang it. Just because it seemed so improvisational, but so tight improvisational. Like they were reading each other so closely. You know, they were like parts of a whole ensemble, if you will. So, oh yeah, so I'm very excited about the disability. We'll see. I was denied it during the Obama administration, so I can't imagine what's going to happen during this under this fascist regime. But I've kept hope this far. The first thing I wrote down for this episode was mental breakdown, and there have been twice now in the past year that I have felt that way. Like I could be having a mental breakdown. And maybe I was. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted. Oh gosh, I gotta go to work tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's hard to go through this when you don't have any family and your friends are states away. And they have these communities you can join, but you also have to pay for them. And I just can't afford to spend any more money on anything. How sad is that? Anyway, it's just so sad. And like I said, talking to my psychiatrist is just, he's a guy. He's much younger than I am. He's probably 20 years younger than I am. And we don't mesh that great, but I was so desperate to feel better that I went with him, and I always thought I can find somebody else at some point, and it's going to have to get to that point pretty sooner rather than later, I think. But funnily enough, when you have CPTSD symptoms that are flaring, let's say, and then you have RA symptoms, and it's funny because my symptoms, like my neck feels much better than it used to, but maybe that's also because I'm talking. I feel like I need to do more, what is it, sacral, throat yoga, throat meditation. I'm keeping, remember I always say, like, my shoulders are too, I hold so much tension down here, and it's all because I felt voices as a child. And so there were 3 magical years where I found where that voice came out, and I felt free, and it has gone. She has flown the coop, and now I feel like I'm almost back at the beginning again. And anyway, it's hard, especially with the way all I can say is thank goodness I don't have kids. What I would love is my modest ranch house with a pollinator garden in the front and raised garden beds in the back. And that I have enough earnings from maybe publishing a book or something. That I keep writing and I can earn a living writing and maybe doing some acting or even screenwriting or playwriting. If I was acting, it would be on stage. So many things that I feel like my body can't do that I want to do. Just because I don't have the energy, because, like I said earlier, this is our normal. All this technology was supposed to give us all this leisure time, and now we're working longer hours than ever for as little money as ever, and as little leisure time as ever. And that we do spend our leisure time on is like soul numbing. I get it. I've been on Pinterest for hours, or my Instagram, not my feed. Isn't that funny? I've been mentioned that before too, but just like the reel, I've done that too because that's all my mind can take. But I am started reading Life After Cars. It's very interesting, and I am pro that. I don't. Anyway, I'll link it down below. I haven't finished it, but I just started it. But it's very well written so far as I can tell, and has lots of stats. It's crazy how the anti-car movement has been around pretty much since the dawn of cars. People have not liked them. And of course, it took car lobbyists to rig the system so that we are where we are. Anyway, anything else? Oh, I discovered ContraPoints. Did I mention that in the last one? I can't remember her name, but I had no idea she was trans. She was a trans woman, and like she said, she had a fantastic surgeon. But she speaks very well about topics. I heard of her from reading that book. She was quoted in that book, What's Wrong with Men, that I highly recommend men read, because it's not anti-men. It's not I hate men. It really isn't. And she really isn't either. Which is why I'm sure she was included. Plus, she speaks. She's very knowledgeable. She's very intelligent. And she's humorous. And she's all... I've only watched one episode, but I recommend her. I know I'm way late on discovering her, but better late than never. And thank goodness for YouTube, so I can watch some more of her episodes, because I find her take on things she makes me think, and she's very she just gives a very objective view. She really, I find her very fair, but there's humor as well. And anyway, so I really like that, and I'm almost at 50 minutes, so I'm gonna stop now. Oh yeah, I wrote down, because patriarchy hurts boys and men too. The very system that they created is hurting them, because the system is crashing. The male loneliness epidemic is patriarchy crashing. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, because they're taking away women's rights and trans women's rights and trans rights and anyone who's not a man, or not a straight man. But like Trixie says, we're all gay. It's so funny. I'll leave you on this note. I was talking to a friend who mentioned that she was having thoughts that maybe she might be like asexual. And I thought, you know what? I may be becoming that too. I just really have the thing is, every once in a while, I don't know if you can be asexual, and every once in a while find someone. It's always men. Though, I mean, I have crush, but it's more about I'm inspired about the way they carry themselves. It's more of a aesthetic than a room. It's definitely not a romantic thing or sexual thing. It's just I can appreciate a beautiful woman and accoutrate. Ow, fuck. Well, and just looking really cool in whatever way, and is really cool. I can I can appreciate that and like crush on that aspect of her, but I never have a sexual attraction to a woman. Unfortunately, it's always men, but like I said, only every once in a while when I'm watching like a farm sanctuary or any animal sanctuary video, the guys in those videos. Anyone who's, especially a man, I have to say. Though, I mean, it wasn't hard for me. It was just that I was made to feel like I was this freak, even more of a freak than I already thought I was. And these people, my family, pretending like they know what they're talking about, or know me at all, or know what real nutrition is. Please. And I did too. I used to do Slim Fast, you know, really unhealthy starvation diets. I will always have an issue with my weight. Like, and I think I mentioned this before. I went to, when I mentioned my last vitals, and they took my vitals, and I was very happy with my blood pressure. It was nice and low, and my resting heartbeat was very good. Like 60s is, especially the lower 60s, is like almost athlete. Don't ask me why. Though when I did 23andMe, they said that my genotype or whatever, my body type genetically was considered athletic. That's what I was just saying. Or meaning by that. I don't know where I was going. Was I going somewhere like that? Oh gosh. But yeah, it's I'm sure it's harder for boys and men because now, well, I'm reading the new Veg News, and because I stay off most social media, I've barely been on IG. I just posted a David Bowie, David Gilmour clip because, frankly, they both look beautiful. But of course, I'm a huge David Gilmour. I would take him now. I would take him back in the 60s and 70s. I find him just as hot now, even with his old belly. And I've said that before too. But that's all I can take right now. Are funny little clips of favorite, and he's very funny. It's a very funny. I don't know if it was all ad-libbed. It almost seemed like part of that show Extras, because it almost reminded me. I was like, did he wear that on Extras? But I was like, well, why would David Gilmour be there unless he was an Extras too? I would have remembered that. Anyway, that's a great one. I love Ricky Gervais. His humor. And he's become vegan. So, always try, he's an imperfect person like we all are. I do not think he is transphobic. I just learned about that from an award show or whatever he made. I just, I don't think it was transphobic. Or if it was unintentional. I don't know. Anyway, the episode of Extras with David Bowie is very good. Except all the episodes are really good. Except they're so cringe that I have to be in a certain mood to rewatch them. Like, I cannot watch the English Office ever again. And I will never watch the American Office again. It wasn't as cringy. And it just went on for far too long. When your main character leaves, cut it. Don't jump the shark. I was there. I watched him jump the shark, literally. Well, figuratively. I doubt he actually jumped a real shark. I don't know. Anyway. Shit was melting. You know what I mean. The original Office was my favorite, but it's so, and not the cringe, not like American cringe. I think there's a difference between American cringe and UK cringe. Because I think of UK cringe is like a type of humor. Like, you can't not look, but you're like, oh my god. Like, when you're so embarrassed for a character. A character. You're so invested. You're so, you know, because it is so, for the most part, it mimics real life pretty well. That we're all basically, most of us are in shit jobs we hate. Or at least don't enjoy because the people above us treat us like shit. And we're just trying to make it through another day of how many more years before we can retire without any pension because Trump's taken it. Okay, I've gone almost an hour. I've said enough. Yeah. I will try to be better at doing this. I'm glad I did it because every time I say I'm going to do it, I chicken. I don't want to say chicken out because chickens are wonderful and smart, funny. See, that's how inculcated. Is that the right word? Negatory. I said negatory. That's what I used to say. Negatory, good buddy. Negative. Is it promulgates negative stereotypes about animals and assumptions about non-human animals. And I'm trying not to do that. Like I said, it's just, we're taught these things by our parents who were taught them by the, you know, because they didn't know any better. And on that note, don't pray for me because prayers don't work. But if you can send kind thoughts my way, encouraging thoughts my way, that would be lovely. Lily Bell was in here earlier, walking all over the place. Of course, once I start recording, she's herstory. But she was in here, and she's been taking very good care of me. She's been napping with me, because I've been sleeping a lot. And just checking in on me. And we play, and that makes me feel better, because she's so silly. She gets zoomies, and she gets so excited, and that makes me happy. So I bring her some joy and excitement. Look at that face. That's just what she looks like. She right there. You know yourself. Alright, guys. You say goodbye. I say hello. Peter, that's for you. I get my favorite. Alright, peace out.